Hey, it's Melissa with Web of Creativity, and today's video I'm going to go over an old project, a new project, and a tutorial. The tutorial is free, so I'm going to give you all the directions and material list and all that for it. So the old project is an Accordion 4x6 mini album I did a few years ago, and I remade using Graphic 45's Sun-Kissed paper collection. And this one I already have a tutorial on, and that link is below if you want to follow that one. And then this one is an Accordion 2x3 mini album. Just as it says, this is for 2x3 pictures, and this one is for 4x6 pictures. So I'm just going to go through the album first, and then we're going to go in the material list and all that good stuff. And on my blog is the written version of the tutorial, so if you wanted to print that out, and it has pictures and step-by-step guide as well, so you can follow along with that in the video. So let me go through the 4x6 mini album, which I updated a little bit using some of the measurements for the 2x3. So this guy, I have fussy cutted some of the turtles and got pop dots and put some shells in this little door pull, and then it opens up and we got a pocket right off the bat. And then this is just an accordion. So it's really hard to see in the video because it's so long. So that is the 4x6 accordion. And then we have the 2x3. This uses the Graphic 45 fairy dust collection. So I did some fussy cutting with the fairy and the mushrooms and the flowers and pop dotted them, and then we got a little keyhole. So that opens up. You see this clock in the background. That's the new metal clock die from Graphic 45, which I have over here. If I can grab it. So we got, it comes with the square tag, die, clock, a doily piece that goes around it, and then your hands. It's a really cool die. I like it a lot. We got some tags. And then this pulls out for all your 2x3 photos. Look how cute that is. So they're identical on both sides. And then we got another fairy and clock piece. So this is a really fun, easy, quick project to do. And the cover is actually a lightweight chipboard. So this is all lightweight. It's not really heavy, and it just takes one piece. So we're going to go through that. So the material list, we have, I have the sticker sheet, which is optional. You can just fussy cut all your pieces out if you want. We got a sticker sheet, one 8.5 by 11 lightweight chipboard, 5 sheets of 8.5 by 11 cream cardstock, and then 8 by 8 pad, fairy dust pad. Then we have some extra additional pieces. So I got a keyhole and a key, 8 magnets, And then more options. I have this honeycomb stitch die that I used for the background of the fairy, and then some 3D foam squares to pop up some of the pieces. Lastly, I did use Wink of Stella. This is clear, and it's hard to see in the camera, but I did add some sparkle to the flowers and the wings of the fairy. I'm not sure if you can see that in the camera or not. And then I did ink my paper with Distress Oxide Vintage Photo. Alright, and then with the beach guy, this uses the same. It's the 1 8.5 by 11 lightweight chipboard, 5 sheets of the cream cardstock, 1 pad of 8 by 8 Sun-Kissed paper collection. This is a Graphic 45 door pull, and then we got some shells. And both of these, you know, both of the paper collections can go for either album. What I do have on my blog at www.webofcreativity.net, and the link is listed below as well, is some kits for both of these projects. So if you want to, I only have a limited number, so if you want to get a kit, you can do that. So we're going to go ahead and start off with cutting our lightweight chipboard. My paper cutter I use is a Fiskars Precision cut for my paper and my chipboard. Am I zoomed out? I'm zoomed out all the way. So I'm going to get that piece. We're going to cut at, sorry, looking for places to put my paper. 7 by 10 1/4 inch. So we're going to cut it at 7 inches. And then 10 1/4. We're going to get our scoreboard out. And this guy, because it is lightweight chipboard, it can be scored, but you're going to have to press down and maybe go over it a couple of times just to get that score line in there. So that scoring is going to be 5 inches, 5 1/8 inch, and a 5 1/4 inch, and that's going to get scored on the long side. So this is the top of your scoreboard, and this is the long side. You're going to put your paper down, and it's going to be at the 10 1/4 inch side, and then we're going to score it again at 5 inches, 5 1/8, and 5 1/4. So I'm going to move this down so I can see it a little bit better. And again, press down. Go back. You want to make sure that line is there. And we're going to do 5 1/8. Then we're going to do 5 1/4. All right. Now before I fold, I'm going to get my crocodile. It's 1/4 1/4 inch. I'm going to round my corners. Again, because it's lightweight, this thing works just fine with it. And then I'm going to go ahead and do some inking around the edges. This is Vintage Photo Oxide. Okay, when folding, you will need the guide of your ruler. We're going to put that score line against this ruler edge to fold it because it is thicker than cardstock. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the middle piece and we're going to use, when you scored, you got the indentation and then you got the mountainside or the hillside. So we're going to take that line on the hillside, and if you want to draw it so you can see it better with your pencil, you can do that. But we want to do the middle one, and when you fold it, the outside one might get folded as well, which is fine, but we want to hold your ruler down flat so it doesn't move. Then I'm going to take my bone folder edge and run it against it. So we got our first fold. We're going to go to the outside one. And the ruler does move. I have to keep moving it back in place. And then once I get it folded, I'll run it again with my bone folder, flip around and do the third line. Alright, now we got our spine folded. Okay, so I'm going to move that to the side and we're going to get my paper cutter back out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut our pages. Alright, so our first page, or 4 pages, we're going to need 4 of these. It's going to be 4 inches by 9.5. So I'm going to cut my 9.5 first. Then I'm going to cut my 4. So I need 4 of these, and it's hard to get this guy in the camera because it's so big. So again, we're going to do that one more time because we need 4 pieces. So we're going to cut 9.5. by 4 inches. Okay. Next, since I'm going to keep this out and go ahead and cut the pocket. Move my stuff out of the way. Alright, my pocket is going to be 4.5 by 7 3/4. I'm going to cut my 7 3/4 first, then my 4.5. Alright, that's my pocket. And then I'm going to cut my cover. My cover is 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. Okay. So again, that's 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. And then I measure that. And then my closure piece is 1 3/4 by 2.5. So my closure is this little guy right here. Okay, I cut all my pieces. Well, I didn't cut my tags, so I cut all my working pieces. Alright, for the page, we have four of these guys, and that's going to get, that's our 4 by 9.5, and that's going to be scored at 3 inches, 6 inches, and 9 inches. So again, we're going to score it at 3 inches, 6 inches, and 9 inches. So do that on all 4 pieces. Alright, then we have our pockets. Alright, I'm just reading my directions to make sure I get this correct. So our pocket piece is 4.5 by 7 3/4, and we're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 7 3/4 side. So we're going to score a 1/2 inch and 7 1/4. And we're going to turn it to the 4.5 inch side, and we're going to score it at a 1/2 inch. Okay. Then our closure piece. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Alright, so our closure are 1 3/4 by 2.5. And then on the 2.5 inch side, so we're going to have the long side on the measuring. So we're going to measure a 1/2 inch and 7/8 of an inch. So 1/2 inch and 7/8 is the one notch right before the one on your Martha Stewart cutting pad. I know sometimes it's hard for the 7/8, so there's the 1/2 inch, and then you have the 1 inch, so it's the one notch before the 1 inch, and that is 7/8. Okay. This is hard to see because my paper is white. I'm going to grab a craft sheet so you can see it a little bit better. So for our closure piece, we're going to fold on the score lines. Both of them are going to go the same direction, like so. And then we're going to add tape, if I can find my tape. We're just going to add tape to the 1/2 inch tab section. Usually if you score and you have a 1/2 inch, it's, for me, it's usually a tab. So put the tape on the tab, put that to the side, then I'm going to grab the pocket piece. Now the pocket piece, we're going to taper the corners. So we have the score line, we're going to cut at an angle up to the score line. So we have the score line at the 1/2 inch, and then we're going to cut at an angle to cut it off. So we're going to do that to those corners. And then the bottom corners is the same way, even though it has that additional square piece in there. So we're going to just treat it the same and cut from the corner of the score line and angle it out. So So I'm going to flip this over and we're going to fold on those tabs. So we created 3 tabs by trimming those corners off. Then we're going to add our tape to our tabs. I'm using 3/8 inch tape. Alright, so we have 3 pieces, and if we fold over the tabs it makes the pocket. So we're going to go ahead and attach that. So we're going to attach it to the top portion of our page, of our inside cover. I'm going to attach it about 1/4 inch from the first score line. So that's where I'm going to attach my pocket. So I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to attach, again, 1/4 up from the score line, centered, which will be about 1/8 of an inch on both sides. Alright, now we got our first piece, our pocket. And then we have our pages. So each page has, bring back my craft sheet here. Each page has a tab on it. So these are going to get accordion folded. So our first piece, we fold one way and then we're going to fold it the opposite direction. So fold one way and then the opposite, and then the tab is going to get folded the opposite direction. So we're going to have our little accordion. So the tab that we have now, we're going to taper the corners. So again, cut from the score line at an angle. And then we're going to add our tape to the tab. And now we're going to do that to the rest of the pieces. So all of them are going to be the same way. One more. And then two of these get attached together. So we're going to attach the tab to the flap. So I'm going to attach this guy together to make this a little bit longer. So we're just going to line it up flush to the edge. There we go. Now we have our accordion page. So that's one page. And again, attaching the tab. We're going to attach it flush to the edge. Lining it up. And there we go. 2 pages. So next, we're going to attach our pages to our album. So I'm going to attach it about 1/4 of an inch from the sides and about 1/2 inch from the bottom, and then 1/2 inch to the score line. So we're going to remove the tape backing from the tab. I'm going to turn this so I can get a better view, and again I'm just going to go, I'm eyeballing it, but I'm going to do about 1/2 inch from the bottom and about 1/4 from the side. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I need to make sure it's lined up with this, the first guy. There we go. Now they're all wonky. So we need to add our magnets wherever I put them. Okay, so our magnets are going to get attached. We've got 3 for each side. And then the remaining 2 are for our closure piece. So we're going to have a magnet on the first and last piece. And then we're going to have one on this side. It's going to be the 3rd sheet. Oops. So I'm going to put about the center. I'm going to add a piece of tape to it. I'm just eyeballing it, but you can measure it if you want. We just need it in the center someplace. Then it's going to be attached to the other side. We're going to add our piece of tape there too. Alright, and then our 3rd guy is going to be on the 3rd panel, so 1, 2, 3. And when this shuts, we'll have a placement for it. So we had that on, I'm going to show you again. Our magnet is on the first panel and the last panel on the one side, and then when it's turned over to the other side, it's going to be the third panel. It's 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do it on this side. 1, 1. Flip over, we're going to want it on the third one. Alright. There's that. Then we have our closure. So this guy is going to get attached on the back side. Centered. I use a Tim Holtz ruler because it has that center point. If you don't have a Tim Holtz ruler, then the center point is 3.5 inches in. So I'm going to go ahead and do this correctly. Alright, there we go. Oops. Okay, there we go. And I meant to punch. I wanted to punch this guy's corners. Alright. So I'm going to attach my magnet to the middle. Get some tape. Alright, so I'm going to attach this guy to the middle. And my tape is too long. And then I'm going to get getting a scrap piece of paper. This helps me release the magnet. So I'm going to attach the magnet here, and on this side of the magnet I'm going to put a little adhesive using my ATG. So I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive to my magnet, so when I attach it, it stays. So I'm going to put my little buffer piece, and I'm going to put it inside. I mean, I could have done it before I attached the pocket, but I did not. So we're going to line it in. Make sure the closure is flush and not sticking out. And then didn't stick. Now I have my magnet on the inside where it needs to go, and then I'm going to add my tape. Alright, there we go. So then I got my closure. And then my cover sheet. You can use some stronger adhesive. I'm using the ATG for speed for the video, but if you're going to put stuff on top of the cover, I'd probably use some tape to secure it. And I did not ink my paper, but you can ink it if you want to. You can also cover it in pattern paper. But I think all the fussy cutting details pop out when you use the cream. Okay, now it's time to do matting. Alright, Alright, so we're going to go ahead and work on the matting. So we're going to go ahead and do the pockets and the pages and all that good stuff. Let me get my trusty cutting guide. Alright, so first, our pocket piece. I do have some scraps, so I'm going to use my scraps real quick. The mat for the pocket piece is 6.5 by 3 3/4. So again, that's 6.5 by 3 3/4. And then I'm going to use the same paper for my closure piece, and that closure is 1.5 by 1 3/4. Alright, and then above the pocket, so we have the pocket piece, and then above the pocket, that is 6.5 by 1 inch. And before I cut some of this other paper, let me go ahead and go over a couple of sheets. So we have a cut apart sheet. This is the sheet I used for my tags. So I cut little pieces out and then put a strip down. So all these came from my cut apart page. And then what else did I do? And then I had these two guys are from a different cut apart page that has the I don't think I grabbed that one, the one with the stripes on the back. I didn't grab that one. So those come from the other cut apart page. And then this guy has all the flowers on it. Moonlit Blooms is the name of it. And that was where I cut out all the purple flowers and that are on the cover. So you want to make sure before you cut into them that you get your pieces, your fussy cutting pieces out of the way. And then you cut into them. So then we got our background piece, this piece in the back, and that piece is 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. Yep, 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. So that's the back piece. Okay, and then we have, lastly, just our pages. So our pages, we're going to need, I forgot how many we need. Let me see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 24. So we need 24 mats, and those mats are 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So we need 24 mats, and they're 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. I am not going to cut all 24 out, but I'm going to cut out a couple. cut everything out that needs to be addressed. Okay, so we have our closure piece, which I cut out wrong. I did. It's 1.5 by 1 3/8. Okay. 1.5 by 1 3/8. I'm going to corner punch add some ink, and this guy I'm going to tape. You can use tape or ATG, any kind of glue adhesive that you want for your mats. I tend to do tape for anything that has a magnet on it to make sure that it's sturdy and holds. Alright, so for the rest, for the 1-inch guy at the top, I corner punched the top 2 corners, and then the rest I left alone, but feel free to corner punch them and or edge punch or whatever you want to decorate your album. Alright, I'm going to ink everything. Let's fast forward, okay? Alright, now that I have everything inked, we're going to go ahead and attach everything. Attach my pocket piece. And this one, I'm going to take the tape backing off of my magnet and go ahead and attach my So I'm just attaching in the center. It's about 1/8 inch from the top and bottom. Now what's left is to give you the measurements for the tags, and then I'm not going to fussy cut because that's going to be quite boring to watch. So I'll go over the tags, I'll do some close-ups of the album so you can get a better look at it, and then call it done. So it's a pretty quick project. It doesn't take too long to make. And this would be cute as like a baby brag book with some of your baby pictures in it. I do want to go over, let me get this guy attached, one thing, which is my little pull tabs that I created using some of the stickers in the collection. So I got these pull tags, and again, it's just a sticker, but I did add a backing to it and just a little piece so you can grab a hold of it. So what, grab my sticker here. So you take one of the round stickers is what I did, and then used just like a little spare, I only have a spare piece, just a little spare piece, about a 1/4 inch in. So I just attached it, and then I cut it out. So then I just cut it out. So that gives you your pull tab, so you're not sticking your finger to the sticker. And then when you place it, you just make sure it gets lined up with the edge of the paper. I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me see if I can zoom in. Alright, so what I did was I attached about a 1/4 of an inch in, and then line it up, and that's your little pull tab. So we got your little pull tab and finish matting. So let me go ahead and oh, tags. Alright, our tags are 6.5 by 4.5. So your tags are 6.5 by 4.5 with the cream cardstock, and then the mats are 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. So again, the tag itself is 6.5 by 4.5, and the mat is 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then these little guys are cut apart pieces, and then I cut a strip from the papers. So 3 tags is a little thick. The first album I only put in 2. I think it's better for 2 because it does get a little tight, and then when you add your pictures it might just get a little more tighter. So even though I made 3, 2 would probably be a better fit for the album. So let me go ahead and show you some detail from the album. So we have our fairy that I fussy cut and used the wink of Stella on the wings. This honeycomb die is honeycomb stitched circle frame. Oop. Memory box die. Keyhole, sticker. And then I got some fussy cutted the fairies and the mushrooms and the flowers. And on the inside, I got more fairies I fussy cut, sticker, a key, and then the clock from the new clock die. Cut apart pieces, flowers, this is sticker, and then on the inside, another clock, fairy. This is just some beautiful paper. Alright, so this is the 2x3 mini album, and then we have the 4x6 mini album. Kits are on my blog. The tutorial, I put pictures and wrote the directions, are also on my blog, www.webofcreativity.net. That's all in the description below as well. So thank you for watching.